As this month is Mental Health Awareness, I want to talk about Chris Eubank Jr. He has recently won against Conor Benn, but how did he do it? What was his thoughts like? Now, you would have thought with Chris Eubank Jr. actually having such a famous boxer for a father, you would have thought that his father would be there for him, supporting him. But no, that didn't happen. There is a famous clip of when his father was discouraging Chris Eubank Jr. to go into fighting at all. So what did Chris Eubank Jr. do when his father was actually negative towards him, didn't want him to fight? And then for many years, they were estranged. They actually had disapproval from his father. How could he possibly survive that? And what's really interesting about Chris Eubank Jr. was he actually took that negativity from his father and turned it into a driving force for him to win. So rather than actually thinking, oh, my dad doesn't care about me, he doesn't want me to succeed, I'm a failure, I'm never going to get anywhere, he actually turned it round and had a self-talk to himself and say, I am going to use this as an opportunity to prove my father wrong. I am determined now to challenge him and to actually prove myself to him. And he argued with his father, and he just kept on persuading his father to actually go into a boxing ring in the first time. Obviously, his father, Chris Eubank, didn't want him to go because he was worried he was too soft, he said. He was worried he didn't have it in him. So I suppose Chris Eubank was thinking, oh, he's going to get pummeled. He's going to have brain injury. You know, it's a very tough sport. I don't want my lovely son to actually be affected by it. Another thing that I think happened to Chris Eubank, the father, was that he also lost his other son, and he went into deep grief about losing his son, who died recently. But Chris Eubank Jr., in spite of actually being, as I said before, estranged from his father, who would be such an amazing role model, who could have told him everything about fighting, who could have told him how to train, how to win, he didn't have him. He had to learn that all himself. He had to sort of create those inner thoughts and those inner beliefs that I can actually succeed. I don't need my famous father to achieve. All I need to do is to see this situation differently, to rather be a victim of somebody who hasn't got a father. And we all know what that's like. I mean, it's terrible, isn't it, if you don't have a very good role model as a mother or a father. This is how a lot of mental health problems start. They start often with in childhood, when you don't have somebody who believes in you, that you have somebody who is against you, or they're not even there, or they're not even a good role model. Then you start to internalize negative beliefs about yourself. And if you don't challenge these negative beliefs, then you start to live according to those beliefs. I'm no good. You start behaving as though you're no good. Then you don't get any success. And that's how you actually fail. But in Chris Eubank Jr., he did something differently. He changed his beliefs. He actually changed them almost to the opposite. Rather than his father thinking he was too soft, he said to himself, I'm going to prove to my father that I'm hard. I can do this. I can prove to my father that I have got that inner ability to really fight, both psychologically and physically, to prove to his father that he can do that. He went to extremes. I mean, as you probably know, he was in hospital afterwards because he was dehydrated, because he went to such lengths to actually be the right weight, extreme lengths. But it actually paid off in the end. And what the lovely story is that there's success, there's hope, there's self-belief, isn't there? It's a great story for Mental Health May to actually remind yourselves, what is it that is holding you back? What beliefs do you have about yourself which just don't serve you anymore? What inner critic are you saying to yourself? Being no good, I'm boring, I'll never get anywhere. And the more you listen to those beliefs, the more they impair you and get in the way of being a success. So I hope you find that useful. He's got a really fascinating story, so you can look it up. But, you know, he often talks about, you know, his actual listening. Chris Eubank Jr. talks about not listening to your negative thoughts, just kind of like put them on a shelf, put them away. Actually see them just as simply thoughts and not necessarily true at all. It's just conversations you have with your mind. put them aside and think, okay, I'm now going to make a determined effort to make something of my life. I'm going to do my dream job, or I'm going to achieve my dream goal. It's up to me to do this. Nobody else will do this for me. I haven't had it all right in my life. I haven't had a great start, but it's a bit like Chris Eubank. It doesn't mean to say that I still can't succeed. I just have to turn all those negatives into motivational responses where I actually start to make changes. And it's okay to do it in time. It's okay to make small changes, one step at a time as well. You don't always get everything right. That's also fine. You might make a setback, you might make a mistake, but the important thing is back to resilience, getting back onto that goal again, starting again, a new fresh day. Okay, well, maybe I didn't get it right. What can I learn from that? What can I do differently this time so that I actually persevere with my goals? So I hope you find that useful. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you soon. I've got to put my glasses on to switch the end button. Don't laugh.